Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about my new adult fantasy romance TBR, which I'm really excited about because there's a lot of books which I'm really wanting to read at the moment, a lot of new adult kind of fantasy romances. Okay, so the first book on my new adult fantasy romance TBR is the City of Brass series. This is by S.A. Chakroborty, and this one honestly just looks incredible. I think it's like a bit of like a historical like fantasy romance as well. So I know that it's set in, I think, the 1800s I think it's in Egypt, and it's this lady who is like selling spices, and then she's kind of like transported to like a new magical realm. And this one honestly looks just perfect for like escapism as well, into kind of like Egyptian you know, magic, into the desert, into cities of like magic. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this one as well. I think it's also been described as YA, but I know some people class it as NA, so not new adult. So we'll see what I think, but yeah, this one just looks like a perfect like escapism book. I can't wait. And it's about 500 pages as well, this first one, so not too bad. I've read Sarah J. Maas, so I've read a lot longer. It's not an issue. And then the second book on my TBR is Radiance by Grace Draven. So I've heard a lot of good things about this book, particularly from over at Jean Bookish Thoughts. And this basically follows an arranged marriage between two enemy kingdoms, a human kingdom and like a magical kingdom. And the last bit of the blurb I'm going to read out because it sounds very good. So, two people brought together by the trappings of duty and politics will discover that they are destined for each other, even as the powers of a hostile kingdom scheme to tear them apart. So yeah, I can't wait. I think it definitely is meant to kind of be like an enemies to lovers type. I think it starts out that way. But then I know with Grace Draven as well, she does like a lot of like friends to lovers kind of tropes as well. So we'll see. I'm just really excited to read this book. I always love an arranged marriage. That's a trope which I am always gonna love, always and forever, arranged marriages. Perfection. And then the next book on my TBR is the Bargainer series by Laura Thalassa. So I've actually read her other book series, which is all about the Four Horsemen, and the first one's called Pestilence. I read that and I thought it was good, but it was set in kind of like the modern world, so it didn't really have like a high fantasy element to it. So in that sense, it wasn't my favourite, just because I prefer you know, high fantasy kind of genres. That's completely fine. You know, I thought I'd give this one a go because I know that this is a high fantasy book series. But oh my gosh, so I think this includes the whole series in this one book, but the writing is tiny. I'm not sure if I can get you to see that. So yeah, I'm a bit scared to start this book. It's very long. So our protagonist is a woman called Calypso, who is a siren, and basically she is in debt to the Bargainer, and the Bargainer is a man who kind of gives out favours to people in like this new kingdom, and whenever the Bargainer does something, you know, for them, the person gets like a black bead on their arm to signify that they are in debt to him, and only death or repayment can fulfil that obligation. And obviously Calypso, she is really in debt to this guy. Like, she's literally got like beads all the way up her arm, so she is massively in debt. She knows that he's going to come collect on the bargain sooner or later, and when he does, his first requirement of her is a kiss. So for the kiss, he takes away just a single bead of her debt, but obviously as you can probably tell, this is going to get a lot steamier, I think, because she's obviously got like so many beads up her arm, and so many more demands. So I'm really excited to read this one. I think this has got quite good ratings as well. I think people really love it, and I'm really excited to kind of get into like the really high fantasy you know, world that Laura Thalassa will create in this book. So very excited for this one. And my next one is Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerri Maniscalo. So I actually read one of her other books, which was Stalking Jack the Ripper, and I must admit I didn't really like it that much. I think the writing style of it I just didn't gel with very well. I thought the idea and everything was really good, but I don't know what it was about the writing style. I just couldn't really connect to the characters very well, or like the world that she was creating. I don't know, it just wasn't for me. So I'm hoping that I'll like this one a little bit more. The ratings that it gets is really good. I know that it's classed kind of in between YA and NA. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this. It's about these twin sisters that are witches who live like among the humans. And basically the protagonist, Amelia, her sister, is kind of, she's found murdered. So Amelia goes onto this quest to kind of figure out how her twin sister was murdered, and in this sense as well, she kind of invokes a lot of dark magic. Hence we're introduced to Wrath, which is one of like the princes of hell. And basically Wrath, basically he tries to help her along to solve this murder, but obviously he's a prince of hell, so nothing is as it seems. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this one. I feel like the enemies, I'm not sure if it is enemies to lovers. I feel like it might be enemies to lovers a little bit, because he's a prince of hell, for God's sake, and like, he's very evil. So I mean, we shall see. But I'm really excited to read this book. And then I've got 2 books as well, which I've not got with me, which I'm waiting to buy, which are also on my TBR. The one which I'm really excited for, like honestly, I'm so excited for this one. It is King of Battle and Blood by Scarlett St. Clair. So I know that it's about this King Adrian, and it's like an arranged marriage, or like I think it's like an enemies to lovers type marriage with this girl called Isolde. And I think it's like very medieval, very like medieval fantasy type vibes in it, and it's by Scarlett St. Clair, who also wrote A Touch of Darkness, the Hades and Persephone retellings. Weirdly, I didn't like the Hades and Persephone's retellings that much. I only read A Touch of Darkness, but I think what I didn't like about it was the fact that it was kind of set in like the modern world. I really like, when I read fantasy, for it to be really embedded into like a new high fantasy type world. So for me, I think this one's going to be kind of set in like this kind of, you know, medieval fantasy type realm. That's what it looks like. So I'm really excited to read it, and I'm going to give this a shot, and it looks really good. I know that it came out actually the other day, and I pre-ordered it, and it's not here yet. I'm a bit annoyed. I'm not happy about it. So it's taken a while. I think it's going to get to me like next week potentially, but I really want to read that as soon as it comes in. And then the next one that I want to read is A Fate of Wrath and Flame by K.A. Tucker. So I know this has been out for a couple of years, and the rating on Goodreads is actually really good for it as well. So for that reason, I can't wait to read it, especially because it's like a new adult book. I just love new adult books. I feel like I really do enjoy YA still, but there's just something about new adult, you know, now that I'm 20 years old, I just want to be reading more adult, spicy books, you know? Let a girl live, mama. Okay, so this one is more of an urban fantasy. So again, it's a bit different to what I usually like, but I thought I would give it a go. It's rated on Goodreads 4.35 stars, which is really good actually. So it's about a thief, Romaria. So now she steals under the employ of New York City's most notorious crime boss. Okay, I'm reading out from the blurb for you guys, because we know, if you've seen my videos now, and if you've seen even this video, I'm so bad at describing books. Like, it actually pains me. I'm horrific at describing books. Gosh, goodness gracious me. Okay, so when an enigmatic woman secures Romaria's services at Sword Point, Romaria is plunged into a startling realm of opposing thrones, warring, elven, and elemental magic she cannot begin to fathom. Okay, this sounds like it's up my street. This sounds like it could be good. Okay, and she's given a quest to steal a stone from Islor's sacred garden without anyone discovering her true identity. Ooh, okay, I'm liking this a lot. Okay, so the identity that she assumes to steal this stone is basically like a princess, and then she's put into a marriage. She's betrothed to King Xandar, who detests her with every grain of his handsome being. Love it. Oh goodness. Oh, but fortunately for her, she's more valuable to him alive than dead. Of course. And is there only one bed as well? Of course, there probably is. Oh my gosh. Okay, this actually looks so good. And then yeah, so basically she assumes the role of smitten queen-to-be until she can escape. A ruse that brings her far closer to the king than she anticipated and threatens more than her safety. Oh goodness. Okay, right, so we've got warring kingdoms, we've got an enemies to lovers, we've got an arranged marriage. Oh, I'm in love. I can't wait to read it. I might actually order it tonight because this looks incredible. And that just about brings me to the end of my new adult fantasy romance TBR. Yes, I'm very excited. Please, if you've got any recommendations, leave them in the comments below. I am constantly trying to find more new adult fantasy romance books because I do feel like it's just a growing genre, let's be honest. Like a lot of books are just put into like a YA or straight like adult, you know, genre. But I'm 20 years old. I really want to read some new adult because I feel like I really gel with it, especially because of the age that I'm at now. Although I still really like YA romances, obviously. So if you've got any YA romance, like fantasy romance recommendations, please leave them down in the comments below because I'm sure I'll read it at some point, because all I pretty much read is fantasy romances because I like to escape my stressful uni life. So here we go, constantly reading fantasy romances. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Even if I literally am like awful at explaining books, genuinely horrific, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you all have a lovely day, and I will see you guys soon.